This episode of Through the Lens is presented by the Northern Arizona Suns. Get your Suns tickets at nazsuns.com. Hey everybody, welcome to the Talking Glass Media Studios here at signalsaz.com. I'm alongside Prescott Valley Council member Marty Grossman. And Marty, welcome and thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's always fun to get in front of the cameras and be able to talk to our community. And you've done a few interviews with me, so they're always fun. I always like them, so good.
Awesome. So what you're here today is I'd love to kind of just have you explain your time on the council and kind of what you do. So the first thing is you've been on the council for 5 years. Why did you decide to run for the council?
Well, when I first moved here, I started attending all the council meetings, and I actually sat in the auditorium for 3 years watching the meetings, and I got to know the council members, and I got to work alongside a few of them. And when one of them that I had become friendly with decided she wasn't going to be on the council anymore, that was my opportunity, because I really liked the council and I wanted to work with them. So this was my opportunity to not unseat anybody, but to actually get in on the council and be part of it and get to work with these people that I liked and admired and respected.
So how many years have you been here in Prescott Valley?
I've been here 10 years now, since 2009, the end of 2009, and I love it. Great thing, you know. Great. I'm so glad I moved here from New York City, in case you can't tell.
Just a little bit. There's just a little bit of an accent, just a little bit of one. It never leaves you, right?
No.
The big city never leaves you.
I was there almost 60 years, so yeah, it's not going away anytime soon.
Gotcha. So kind of bring me through the life of being a Prescott Valley Council member.
All right. Well, the basics are that Friday afternoons they post the agenda. And you read through it, you go through the notes. I mean, sometimes you have only a few pages to read, sometimes you have a lot of pages to read. And if there's any additional questions or research that you should do before the meeting, you know, you go through the stages, okay? Comes the meeting on Thursday, you know, you go through the agenda, and if it's a work study, there's a lot of, work study is where 90% of the work gets done. That's where we get to interrogate or ask questions of somebody making a presentation to us. So we basically dissect what the issue is. And if it's something that all of us basically are in favor of, it shows up at the next meeting for us to vote on at the regular meeting. If it's something that most of us will say verbally that we don't think this is going to pass and it's not good for the community, not good for our town, then it's never going to come in front of us. So it's funny because during the election cycle, you know, you'll get a few candidates to say, every time you go to a meeting, it's, you know, it's like a rubber stamp. It's yes, 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 yes. Yeah, because everything that would have gotten turned down gets turned down at the work study, so it never comes before us for a vote. So everything that we're voting on is something that we have already hashed out and really dug into. So the other thing that we have is each of us is given an assignment. For example, I'm the liaison to the Historical Society, I'm a liaison to the Fire Board, and I'm the liaison to the school district. I'm also the emergency contact person liaison between the county and the council in case of an emergency. So I have those assignments. And then there are other things that you participate in. For example, yesterday we had NAU had their spring community breakfast. So a few of us drove up and we sat through the breakfast. Because we have a presence of NAU in the community, we get invited to these things and we participate. You know, education is it's a big item in this community. We have Yavapai College, we have NAU, we have not too far, we have Embry-Riddle, and I get invited to a lot of different events at all these different colleges. So it's important for me to represent our community at these different venues.
Now, as you mentioned, you drove up to NAU with a few other council members. What is that kind of group like? Obviously, you spend a lot of time with them, going to various events and in the work studies and the council meetings themselves.
Well, you know, we all have our own personalities. We all bring our own values to the council, which is a very good thing. Because sometimes somebody will bring up a point at one of our council meetings or work study meetings, and you go, you know, I wouldn't have seen it that way. You know, same. You know, you and I could talk about different things, and you're going to have your view, I'm going to have my view, and somewhere in the middle is something that works for both of us. And a lot of times, you and I might be on the same track. So it's good that we all voice our opinion. We all come from different backgrounds, and when you discuss things, we get to what's best for the community in the end. Sometimes it could be a casual conversation, and it might be something that's coming up later on, but we have to be careful about what we talk about, and the number. We have open meeting law that we have to be aware of. So if there's 4 or more of us somewhere, we can't talk about town business. That's a given. And we try not to talk about agenda items because that's supposed to be transparent, and we do it in council meeting. So there is really nothing that's on our agendas that we talk about in private.
And how important is it for the public to show up to council meetings?
Well, they don't necessarily have to be in the auditorium because we stream our meetings live on through pvaz.net, which is our website. Channel 56 does it. We also archive all our meetings. So comes Friday or Saturday morning, you could go and watch it, and see what we discussed. But it's important for the community to watch the meetings and hear what's said. Because a lot of times, as we've seen recently, we'll get 200 people show up in the auditorium because they don't want us to vote on something, or they want us to vote on something, and there's a big issue. And if you hear all the facts and all the input, that's when you'll get a much better story of what's going on and why we vote the way we vote. Because you're always going to get that core of people who feel a certain way, and they're usually the most vocal, but they might not be the majority. So they could be the minority, and but if they have a loud and strong voice, that's what's going to be seen. So, but we also represent the other 45,000 people that are in the community.
Gotcha. And one final question for you. What's your future look like on the Prescott Valley Council?
I'm going to run at least one more time. Personally, I think I have asked the questions at the work study meetings. I have represented the community. I go out in the community. I make myself available to everyone out there. And you may not always agree with me, but I will tell you what is on my mind. I will tell you the truth. If something has happened, I will tell you the truth. You may not like my answer, but that's just the way I believe. And like I said, I'm going to run one more time. I think I've represented the community well. I really enjoy doing what I'm doing, and I like being out there. And if somebody has a question of me and you see me out there, I'm easy to reach. You can get me through the Civic Center, 759-3100, or send me an email, mgrossman@pvaz.net. I'll be more than happy. I mean, many times I've gone into people's homes. I was invited to come and speak to a group of people, and I know I'm going into a hostile environment, but I'll go anyway because they have questions, and I want to give them the answers that are happening. Like I said, they may not like it, but I'll give it to them.
Perfect. All right, Marty, thanks for joining us. Keep it locked on signalsaz.com for all the news, sports, events, and entertainment in Northern Arizona. This episode of Through the Lens was presented by the Northern Arizona Suns. Get your Suns tickets at nazsuns.com.